We'll call to order the Monday, June 2nd meeting of the Airport Commission. If you all stand, we'll have a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Excuse me. In the absence of Commissioner Tilson, I'll appoint Commissioner Van Dorn to fill in the committee. And next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. I assume we've had an opportunity to read the previous minutes. If so, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
No, same sign, motion carries. Is there any additional business to be added to the agenda?
No, sir.
Sorry?
No, sir.
Hearing none, we will move down to the manager's report.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Right. So we haven't had a meeting in a couple of months, but we've had definitely a quite eventful months. Starting off with some equipment maintenance. In April, our 100 low lead gas tank received a new gallon dial after the old one stopped working. It stopped counting the gallons on one side. We were able to find a part and then replace it. I was able to do all those repairs in house. And then after I repaired it, the calibration company, they came back out, they recalibrated the machine after I had completed the work. They certified all the work that I did, and everything's been good ever since. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we won't have any more problems with our 100 low lead pump. Next, our crew cars showing some more signs of age. The muffler actually rusted off while it was in use. That was pretty fun. We were able to get that back in the shop across the street, put a new one on, and we were able to re-weld it up. So we were able to take care of all those. We also put new brakes, pads, rotors, and calipers. The old ones were starting to seize up, making the brakes hot. And then we also got some mowing season around now. We had a couple equipment breakdowns with spindle repairs. The thermostat on one of our Kubota zero turns also went out. It was overheating the mower, so we replaced that. That's been happening in the past few months. Grounds maintenance. The first round of weed killer and spraying has been completed for the summer. We also have an update for the fence crash that happened a couple months ago. We got put on the schedule after we got an okay from the insurance company, but they had a pretty long lead time on that. So hopefully that should be done this month. I got to give them I'll call them again this week to get an update from them. The airport sign that also got damaged during a windstorm a couple months ago. We got the design back from that, but didn't really like that one. So after we made a couple of changes, adding a couple of businesses on field to our sign, we're still awaiting back that next design. So hopefully that'll be complete. We have a temporary sign out there right now, just so everyone still knows that that's the airport terminal in the FBO building. Let's see here. Along with our ground operations, our new farmer has planted for the season. He's also doing cleanup in the fields that he occupies. There's a lot of stones in our field around the airport. So the previous farmer did not really do cleanup of the big, larger stones and stuff like that. So it was nice to see him keeping up on, his grounds and the place he occupies. So, building repairs and projects. We've had multiple hangars become available from long-term tenants that did not have airworthy aircraft. These hangars were in need of some serious updates. A lot of them, since nobody really stepped foot in them besides when we did our hangar inspections, a lot of them needed cables, lights, new door handles, and some of them had electrical issues. So after those long-term tenants left, we fixed all those, and now they're ready to be rented. We've been calling the hangar list. So I think we're down I want to say 8 people as of this year so far. So the list is slowly dwindling, which is really nice, and we'll have more become available throughout the year. It's kind of all part of the plan that I have to assess the need of the airport after we do this. After we did the addendum, make sure that after we clean up the list and put more people in hangars, make sure that there's still a need for hangars, and that way I can bring that to back here, and maybe we could move forward on some other hangar projects. But this is a great first step for us. And then we've all had at the airport a lot of rain. We started doing some of the hangar patches on top of the roofs again. They've had a couple of leaks, which is unfortunate, but we've been replacing some of the screws with rubber silicone and patches on the roof, so no more leaking on aircrafts as well. Another tenant that we had, Textron Aviation, was having issues with their garage door openers on the building. They were original to the building 20, 30 years ago. So we put new garage door openers in both of them. I actually quoted it out to multiple different companies. It was going to cost somewhere around $2,000 to get both garage doors open or put them both in. We went to Lowe's and got 2 garage doors and got it completed for under like $700. So it was definitely a big price difference. Let's see here. Lastly, the last report I explained, we had some issues with the flight school doors. They had a couple frayed wires from rubbing on the cables going up and down all day, every day. So it was grounding out the motor on one of the cables that were coming up and down. So we replaced that. And then we have also done some preventative maintenance, so that'll never happen in the future. So especially if it's during cold weather or I'm not there after hours, they won't have to call me back in for anything like that. Airport operations, we all know the NASCAR races are coming up this weekend, which is going to be a blast. It's going to be nice and warm, but unfortunately, it looks like we're going to be forecasted with some rain, so hopefully that doesn't get pushed. It's a bit earlier than previous years. We've always had it in August, so it's nice to have a June race back. As been previously discussed, Lenawee County Airport has always done food, like homemade food. In the previous years, I've always just done a little bit of catering, but I've gotten some feedback from some of the pilots, and they all wish to have some of that homemade cooked food back. So that's and we've discussed with the Lenawee County Health Department, and since it's a invite only for just pilots and racers, we don't have to have a food handler's license anymore. So we're going to be trying out doing, because I'm sure making food is going to be cheaper than catering it in the previous year, so that'll be a lot better. Let's see here. The hangar amendment that was placed at the beginning of the year, multiple tenants have been removed or voluntarily left. They've sold their airplanes, which is nice. I think I already touched base on that. And then we've also done hangar rent increases after adjustment of the amendment. We haven't had a hangar increase in quite a long time. So we're hoping that kind of sparks some people to either get their airplanes moving or remove them from the airport, unfortunately. And then we also had a long-term tenant leave the offices over by, what is that, East Maintenance? We have a list of people that have wanted offices for several years, so it'll be nice to take someone off that list as well. But other than that, that's the manager's report for the past couple months.
Questions?
It's great.
Go ahead.
You ahead.
I just a couple, the fence damage.
Yeah.
Talked about dealing with the insurance company.
Yeah.
Was that, were we able to identify who caused the damage
Yes.
from that insurance company?
Yeah. So that person actually flew through the fence about, I want to say 150 feet through the fence. And it was during a really wet day. It was kind of slushy. So he tried leaving, but he got stuck. Yeah. So luckily, Madison Township, they were on it pretty quick. They made it out there and we were able to make a claim. And it took a little bit to get the insurance company to get back to us. So it's all in a chain of events. But
Second, who's the cook?
we are. And we also have a couple of Yeah, long-term airport friends that used to do some desserts and stuff that we'll be getting a hold of. So that'll be nice to bring them back in and associate them with this event.
Very good.
Actually, a couple things. So when you were talking about your sign, you indicated that you had some businesses on the field that you wanted to include on the sign.
Yeah,
Not that I want to say that they won't always be there.
yeah.
But is the sign being created so that if we have businesses that come and go off of the field, that
Yeah.
those names can be added and replaced?
So when I talked to the design guy, it's going to be one laminate poster for just Lenawee County, and it'll be laminated on a large piece of plastic almost. For the businesses, really, it's just Skywalker Flying and Heinemann Avionics. It's going to be like two little logos that he's creating that can be kind of peeled off with like a razor blade or something
Okay.
like that. But the first design it wasn't really to our liking. It was more old school, what we used to have. And I wanted to, go with more updated things. And he forgot to add those other designs for the other businesses. And we've also been speaking to the other businesses. They will be, how do I want to say this? It will be paying for their own portion of the design. We're not going to be paying for it. So I didn't want to pay for it because it was an extra $150 for each design. So.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, second, I know you and I had had a previous conversation about this, but I don't know if the board fully understands. So as part of the notifications that you sent out, especially regarding the planes that were not able to, I don't remember what you call them, non-functional planes, or they're not worthy to fly in the air. I don't remember the right
Yeah.
terminology.
Yeah.
How many hangars did we eliminate so that we could open them up to those on our list as a result of that specifically?
Yeah, so we've had a total of 12. Yeah, we typed up letters and I had her mail them out.
I sent out, I believe it was 16 letters to people who didn't have operational airworthy aircraft. So far, 6 of them have decided to sell or leave in general. Some of those are taking a little bit longer than immediately within the week, but we've had 4 leave and new tenants come in since February. And just for reference, when I started, I took somebody off the list who was waiting since 2011.
Okay. And how long is our list currently of people waiting?
40.
40 people.
We have 40 looking for that. Do you happen to know how many are looking for office space too?
We have 4 that were looking for office
Okay.
space. So we have one that just opened up, and then we also have another building that emergency management occupies. That was all part of the COVID stuff. It has
Mhm.
like a little office in the back with a garage door. So he'll be cleaning all that out so we can get the next person off the list. So that'll be nice as well.
Good, good. Also, I wanted to point out, I really appreciate the effort that you took with the garage doors. When you were looking at a couple $1,000s and you and your team were able to go to Lowe's and repair those for the tenants for $700. I appreciate the initiative there to be efficient with the taxpayer dollars and with the rents that you receive.
Of course.
And also, what's for dinner on Saturday?
So we were thinking either it was going to be Mexican or kind of barbecue. Everyone's more often from the South, so maybe like a Tex-Mex type of deal.
Once it stopped, they decided to go to JR's, was their favorite restaurant when they came in after we stopped doing this, which has now closed. So to ease that blow a little, I was thinking doing something similar.
Yeah, something, a part of their menu that they really like to come in, so.
Gotcha. Thank you. That was it.
I
Any
just
questions?
wanted to reiterate as well that I appreciate all of your efforts to fix things, and it sounds like you're amazing, and I think that's awesome. I really appreciate that too.
Thank you very much.
In fact, I'm having a problem with my garage door.
I know.
Give me a call. Hey, give me a call.
Further questions, comments? Hearing none, finance reports.
Okay, I wanted to go through the finance reports a little bit slower today and identify it. We're hitting almost halfway through the year. And when this report was written as of May 30th, we had a benchmark of 41%. So I kind of went through and I was looking to say, where are we on revenue? Where are we under the 41% benchmark? And then on expenditures, where are we above? And so I wanted to kind of talk that out in the event you had any questions. So as we look at the revenue, the first one are the Jet A fuel sales. Those right now, or the revenue coming in from that is low. However, I think that after this upcoming weekend, you're going to see that number increase quite a bit. I know that Thomas has got a lot of extra fuel on available. And I don't know, is this type of race where the jet fuel actually
Yeah.
skyrockets?
Yeah, and another point I wanted to bring up, we actually had one of the airplanes that was on field from previous, because there was two jets that were based in the same hangar that were always flip-flopping. That company actually sold one of their airplanes. So that has kind of took a little bit of hit to our jet fuel sales. But hopefully we can still entice, they actually bought another airplane and they can't house it at the airport. So sometimes they'll come and buy some fuel from us. But that airplane is now based at a different airport. So
Okay. Okay.
Can I ask why they can't house it?
so the rear portion of the airplane won't fit in the door. Lengthwise it will. They bought a little bit larger airplane to accommodate the people that they bring on. But they have talked to me about possibly building a hangar in the near future. So that might be a conversation that we come across here soon.
Good.
Okay. Also, as we go down, both under the rent lease land and the rent lease land farm, you can see that there's no revenue that has come in from either of those yet. I want to point out that the rent lease land, that's usually paid twice a year, and we see that revenue coming in July and October. And the land, the farm, that funding usually comes in November. So that's why you're seeing zeros there.
Can
Um,
I'm
sorry, go ahead.
Can I ask a question? I want to ask them as we're going along, so I don't, so we changed farmers that are coming in, and is
No,
there,
this is specific to the airport, not the county farm.
I understand.
Oh, okay.
We changed farmers here?
Yeah, so last year there was yeah, so it was Randy Shadwald was the previous farmer, but they had a little bit of family crisis, so they have decided to downsize. And they had a gentleman that was working with them that kind of broke off as soon as they left the airport. So we immediately brought him in. He was very familiar with the airport grounds, and he's already worked them for a number of years. So it was a smooth transition into a different farmer.
Same rate?
We actually, yeah, we increased it. We took a look at the surrounding from the county's farmer and what they've charged. And we kind of, since we have a smaller, kind of field, we kind of price adjusted to that. And we talked to Randy as well to see what a good jump would be as well. So I think we went up about 30 cents an acre, maybe, I want to say, because it hadn't been adjusted just like our rent in a number of years. So we wanted to make it a smooth transition, and maybe in the following years, we'll probably do another price adjustment to keep up with ever-going costs.
Good, thanks.
And as we go down the budgeted use of fund reserve, obviously we have not had to utilize any of that at this point. So we are currently on the revenue total side at about 25.83%. As we move down into the expenditures, of course, you're going to be looking at the percentages on the far right. You can see one that says we're at 105%, which sounds like really crazy. I want to point out the budget is only $192 and we are at $202, and that is in the postage. And the reason for that is, or a big portion of that is because of the new amendments and all the changes that were identified in the leases and stuff. There's been more mailings that have gone out this year to the tenants than in the past. So that's where you're seeing that increase. As we go to the second page, I wanted to point out 801, the professional contractual. You can see that's at 791%. That's because we only had $2,500 budgeted there. There's an actual expenditure of $19,780. That is actually for the runway light project that was done, and that was Mead and Hunt's cost. So that's where you're seeing that. And if you remember, the reason that that probably wasn't budgeted is we were originally looking at that funding for the tree removal project. And because we were pushing up against a deadline of needing to have everything submitted to the state by the end of February or end of March, I forget which one it was. This is a project that got thrown in so that we could utilize some funding and rather than lose it. So that's where that expenditure is.
So it is reimbursable.
Yes,
Portion.
a portion of that is yes.
Yeah.
Just moving down, I wanted to also point out under account number 910, the machinery and equipment under $10,000. There's a cost there that is for an outdoor camera that we had installed. And then moving down to the bottom of the report, under the phase 1 legal, this is where we are housing the cost of the tree removal project. And you can see that out of a $400,000 budget, we have currently expended just over almost $214,000. The majority of that is payable to Prestige Title for the closings on the properties that we have reached an agreement with. Just as an FYI, as the Board of Commissioners meet a little bit later this month, at Personal Ways and Means, we will be going into closed session as we have reached an agreement with 4 more residents. And so those proposals will be being brought forward, and if approved, we'll be setting up a closing on those also.
And
Mhm.
and how many more open ones are there then? Do you know?
I think we had decided the first phase would be somewhere between 13 and 15. I would have to go back. Thomas, do you
I
remember?
believe it was 15.
15?
And so we've settled with these.
We've closed with 5. This 4 will get us to 9.
Okay.
We still have a little bit more. And that budget of 400,000 was a guesstimate at what we would be expending. And keep in mind that this is also reimbursable. The closing cost, the county ends up paying 5% and we have 95% that is reimbursed back. It just might take a little while to get, so we know we have some holding cost.
Got it.
So that is your finance report. I don't know if you have any other questions. I will try to answer them.
Any questions, comments?
Good job.
Hearing none, we will move down to other business. Is there any other business to be brought to this committee?
No, sir.
Any other business?
So
Ben Dorn.
what's your look for the race coming up? Is it like it's gonna be, comparable to a year before or?
So we have, I want to say 3 fuel releases as of right now. Usually we don't know until we start getting a bunch of cars in. So I assume we'll probably start getting cars from Enterprise or all those car rental agencies within the next couple of days.
So they send those in, we don't make arrangements?
Yeah, no, that'd be a lot of arrangements. Yeah, they start sending them in. We park them inside our fence so that no vandalized or nothing like that. And we try to do like a curbside service when they come up. We'll have their car ready and get their fuel taken care of. It's all kind of part of the thing we do. So I'm hoping we're going to be on track for more than last year, but it just all depends. We spread the word a little bit about the food, so hopefully that,
Good.
brings some more in. But,
Good work.
Thomas, at the management team meeting, you went into a little bit of detail about the number of drivers that may show up in, more specifically, the number of public that
Oh.
show up to see drivers. Do you want to go into a little bit more detail about that?
Yeah, so every year, the more and more attractants because of all the pilots and racers that come in, we get fans that just like to stand on the side of the road, sit in the parking lot. Some of them just lean on the fence to watch the jets, and some of them will like to run out into the middle of the street,
Great.
stop the cars. We've had to,
My.
get the police involved a couple of times just to try to get autographs and stuff. So we've come up at the airport with about 4 different exit strategies with 4 different fences around the airport. So if they don't want to be bothered, we have a place for them to go that they won't be bothered and they can leave and won't have to stop and worry about, being hassled, I guess, and trying to be stopped in the middle of the road. So
I want to point out, this isn't anything new. It's been
Yeah.
happening for as long as I've been at the airport. Most of them are returning. They will bring something for the racers to sign. sell it on eBay, come back the next year. And they're
Right.
pretty, most of them are respectful. Every once in a while, we'll get some new people who will come in, who will run into the streets. That's where we'll call the police department and they'll come out and kind of have a chat with them. But there's been a couple times they've even rented some porta johns and placed them on our parking lot.
Goodness.
And how many members of the public do you think normally show up?
It ranges from year to year, just because it all depends on who's coming into the airport. If you see like any of the bigger names come in, we got what, like 20 to 30 people from the public, and then sometimes it's rotating. So it could be, 50 variations of people from all surrounding counties. Like we've had some people from the bottom of Ohio come out to our airport to try to get a signature.
It was pretty typical for them to sleep in their cars in our parking lot. And a few years prior, Sharon took it upon herself to teach them how to see who's coming in and who's not. So they will show up about 5 minutes before they land now and then leave, which is kind of nice.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Further comments, questions? Any other business? Any public comment? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Moved and supported, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same